Okay, so ARIMA muna tayo. So ARIMA is an acronym that stands for Autoregressive. And then we have, so AR means autoregressive. I means integrated. So integrated here does not refer to integration, but it refers to the use of differencing, okay, to make the time series stationary. Okay. Then we have the moving average. So you may notice na meron tayong tatlo. Okay, bali tatlo yan sila na parts. So one is yung autoregressive, then second yung integrated, and then third yung moving average. Napaaralan natin muna isa-isa ang autoregressive o yung autoregression. And then we have already discussed the integrated, which is the use of differencing. You know? So as I have illustrated before, this is the Google stock prices, right? So ito yung stock prices sa Google. And then, as you can see, this is not stationary. Okay? So hindi siya stationary in the sense that meron tayong changing levels and trend. But if we take the difference between 2 consecutive days, you have this form. You have this new time series, but this is already applying differencing. So differencing is just subtracting 2 consecutive. Okay? So for example, if we want to know the formula, tignan dito naman yata yung differencing. I'll just bring my, teka muna dalhin ko muna ang aking tablet, writing tablet, writing. Okay? So when we do differencing, so for example, we have y 30. So usually ito yung ginagamit natin na ano, ginagamit natin na what the hell? Ito yung ginagamit natin na notation. So when we do differencing, abnormal naman. Okay, maybe I can just open a Jamboard. Okay, lagay ko na lang dito para makita ninyo. Okay, so I hope you can see this. So kung meron kayong yt. So ito usually yung symbol pag y prime, meaning we are computing the difference. Okay. So this is computed by yt minus yt minus 1. Okay. So for example, if we have this value, let us say 2, 3, 5, 6. So this one is y1, y2, this is y3, y4. Then the first difference value, t, is just y2 minus y1. Okay. So 3 minus 1 or 3 minus 2 or 1. So therefore, we have y1 equals 1. We usually do not have y1 because wala naman siyang value na pwede na, wala siyang value kung saan natin siya isa-subtract. Okay? So that's the idea. Okay? And so on and so forth. Yan yung differencing. Aside from one differencing, we can also have second order differencing. So ito is first order lang yan siya. Okay? So ano yung y, let's just complete. Ano yung y3 prime? Ano yung y3 prime? So 5 minus 3. Yeah? That is 2. Ano yung y4 prime? It's 1. Yeah? So we have here the difference time series, which is 1, 2, and 1. Okay? Now we can also do second order differencing. So the idea is, of course, after we do the first order, and this is the result, we compute again the differencing, not using this one, but the resulting, but the values from the first order. Okay, so we have usually the formula for second order as y t prime prime equals yt prime minus y t minus 1 prime. Okay, and if this is our y2 prime, this is y3 prime, this is y4 prime. So the second order will start on what? y3, yeah, prime prime. Okay, so what is our y3 prime prime? It's just 2 minus 1 or 1. So this is y3 prime prime. And y4 prime prime is 1 minus 2 or negative 1. So we will have now 1 and negative 1. Okay, so that is our second order difference. Now we can actually directly compute the second order without going through the first order. Okay, so ginawa natin dito, pag-compute sa second order, first order muna yun sa original, and then again first order doon sa resulting difference sequence. But we can also directly compute it from the second order from the original time series. So you can just say, okay, so remember this is the formula, right? Okay, so y prime prime t equals yt prime minus yt minus 1 prime. Now if you're going to substitute what is yt prime, this one, right? So you have yt minus yt minus 1 minus, so what is yt minus 2? It's just yt minus 1 minus yt minus 2, right? So we can have yt minus, since this is minus, so this is 2, yt minus 1, and this is, it becomes plus yt minus 2, because if you distribute, right? So we can directly compute it from here. Now, if we are going to apply, let's try to see if we will obtain 1 minus 1 from this formula using the original. So we will have, since second order na siya, mag-start siya muna sa 3. Kasi wala naman tayong 0, right? So y3, okay, y3 prime equals, what is yt? We are looking for y sub 3, right? So what is y sub 3 here? It's 5. Okay. Minus 2 times y t minus 1 or 2. What is 2? It's 3. Plus t minus 2, t sub minus 2, which is 1, y sub 1, that is 2. Right? So we have 5 minus 6 plus 2. So what is 5 minus 6? Negative 1 plus 2. Or we have 1. So this is the same as the first. You can verify it. You can verify that it's negative 1 for y minus y sub 4 or y prime prime sub 4. And you will find that it's actually minus 1. So that is actually the idea of differencing. Okay, so you integrated it because you are going to use differencing of raw observation. So this is what we call the raw observation in order to make the time series stationary. So usually, if you apply differencing, you make the time series stationary. Okay, I have actually prepared here a small code. So if you can see here, okay, so this is the original stock Google stock price, okay, on your left. And you see that this is not actually stationary because you have the changing level and there's also some kind of trend here, okay? But if we apply first order differencing, you will find or you will obtain this new time series. And this is now stationary, okay? So by applying differencing, you make a time series, a non-stationary time series, stationary. Okay, new idea. And then what is moving average? We will discuss this as well. So this is just a model that uses the dependency between an observation and a residual error. So this is residual error. Okay, from a moving average model applied to log observations. So each of these components are explicitly specified in the model as a parameter. So when you specify an ARIMA model, usually you specify the AR, you specify the differencing, and you specify the moving average. So paano yan siya specify? We'll discuss that later. And note that AR and MA are two widely used linear models. They are linear models that work on stationary time series. And I is a pre-processing procedure to stationarize. Okay? Okay, so standard notation is use of ARIMA is PDQ. So you write ARIMA, open parenthesis, PDQ, close parenthesis. So what is now P, D, and Q, and how do you specify this in the model? So P is just the number of logged observations included in the model. So pag sinabi natin log observations, it means that how many past observations are you going to use to predict the present. That's the idea, or this is also called the log order. And B is the number of times that the raw observations are different. So as I have illustrated a while ago, you can differentiate. You can use first order, so you just compute the first order difference, or you can apply second order, or you can apply third order. So it's just differencing the differences of the differences of the differences, something like that. Yeah. So how many times do you difference? That is given by the degree of differencing. And the size of the moving average window, also called the order of moving average. So we will discuss this later. Paano yan siya. Okay? So a value of 0 can be used for parameters. Pwede pala yan siya maging 0, no? Pwede siya maging 0. It means that we'll just have a random noise or a white noise, right? O pwede din siya maging random walk model. Okay? Which indicates to not use that elemental. Pwede din hindi tayo mag-difference kung 0. Pwede din hindi tayo mag-moving average kung 0. Okay? So in other words, a RIMA model can be configured to perform the function of an ARMA model. So maging ARMA yung ARIMA kung walang differencing. Problema. Kasi wala namang I dyan. So ARMA lang siya. Pero kung lagyan nyo ng differencing, then that's the time maging ARIMA siya. And pwede ding walang ma. Pwede lang ding R lang, AR. Pwede ding walang AR, MA lang. Okay? Walang problema dyan. Okay, so discuss natin ngayon ang autoregressive. So kung sa ARIMA pa to, ito yung AR part niya. Okay? So how's the idea? So autoregressive models are based on the idea that the current value of the series xt can be explained as a linear combination of p past values. So kung if you have like this time series x1, x2, yan, means that xt can be explained by x t minus 1, t minus 2, hanggang sa xt minus p. So yung p kanina sa ARIMA. Remember that ARIMA is p, d, and q. Remember? Na? P, d, and q. So ito yung p. So that's why I said that ang p mag-depend on how far in the past you're going to look, or how many variables in the past, or how many values in the past you're going to use to predict the present. Okay? So for example, I'm going to use p equals 2. So if I want to know x4, so ano yung mga values na gagamitin ko? 4 minus 1 and 4 minus 2, or x3 and x2. Okay? And the ARIMA model, the AR model, or autoregressive, it's just creating a regression. No? So, regression lang pala siya. So, when you say regression, you're going to build a linear model and estimate parameters. Okay, so ito yung parameters niya. You have x sub t as the dependent variable, the value that you are going to predict, and you have here the coefficients. So if you're going to use P observations, then you're going to estimate P coefficients, of course, plus usually ito yung error na model. Or more compactly, you can write this as summation of I equals 1 to P plus the error term. Now, if xt is stationary, wt is, the mean is 0 and the variance is constant. And the coefficients are the model parameters. Okay? The hyperparameter P represents the length of the direct look back. So ito yung direct look back. So sinabi kasi siyang direct, it's because you're considering the latest P observations immediately succeeding or preceding the values that you're trying to predict. So hindi pwede na si X5, gamitin mo si X1, tsaka si X2, kung ang P mo is 2. No, you can't do this. Dapat ang gamitin mo is si X4, tsaka si X3. Kasi sinabing direct look back. Okay? Yes. Okay, so before we continue on this, so naintindihan ba yung AR model or the autoregressive? Or meron kayong question? Indihan naman, no? Dali siya intindihin. Okay. So, itong backshift operator is just a way, no, to make our notation simpler. Okay? So, ginagamit natin itong backshift. We symbolize this as B, okay? Such that if we apply this operator to an observation, let us say BYT, then we will get YT minus 1. No? It's just a way to, so kung nag-exist, kung mayroon kayo makitang BYT, ang ibig lang sabihin, you are considering YT minus 1. Okay? So dito sa slide natin, ang nakalagay dito ay X, no? Pero Y yung ginamit ko, pero okay lang yan dyan. Okay? So yan lang ibig sabihin. Pag mayroong yung backshift operators operate on an observation, it just means that you're going to, the value of that is just the value preceding that observation. The value that precedes that observation. Okay? So how about if we want to use, let us say, is this possible? Question. Let's see if it's possible. So we know that BYT is BYT minus 1. And applying again the backshift, then it becomes YT minus 2. Right? So therefore, we can just write this as B squared YT equals YT minus 2. No? So very easy siya, an operator. So how about if I say B5 YT? So it's just T Y sub T minus 5. All right? Or in general, BK XT is X T minus K in general. And there is also an inverse operator, which we call B1. So it just means that if you're going to apply this, suppose we're going to apply this. Okay? So pag inverse kasi, it should be B1, B equals 1. So therefore, we can say that YT must be equal to B raised to minus 1. Well, it's not raised, but B superscript minus 1, B should be equal to YT. But what if BYT? Right? This is YT minus 1. So if the B moves it in the past, the B inverse moves the value one step in the future. Okay? So when I have now B1, Y, T minus 1, it means it's T. Okay? Okay. So let's have a short exercise. No? Let's try to use the backshift notation to describe a second order differencing. So I'm going to share this to all of you. Okay, I will share this chat so that you can. Okay, now let's use the back operator to describe the second order differencing. So remember that second order is YT minus YT sub Y sub T minus 1 prime. Or for the original, we can have YT minus 2 YT minus 1 plus YT plus 1. T plus 1. T minus 2. Yeah? So I want you to give me what would be the notation or the formula. What would be the formula in backshift operator for second order differencing? Okay. So let's have Plaza. Okay, Plaza can take over the Jamboard and write your solution. If or the backshift, using backshift operator, how are we going to represent the second order differencing? Sige. Nandiyan ba si Plaza? Plaza? Victoria Plaza. Plaza, oh. Nanirado na ba yan?
Sir, hindi po maka-edit, sir.
Ha?
Naka-view only lang po.
Uy, bakit naman? Ay, viewer pala niya. Sorry. Okay. Ka-edit ka na?
Para
Sige. Paano mo ngayon i-represent ang second order notation using the backshift operator?
Nag-scan po ako, sir. Hehe. T minus 1. T minus 1 minus 2. Y minus 1. Wait. YT minus 1. D. Y. D minus 1. Ay, sorry. Oh.
No need to write the inverse, just the backshift operator. Hindi na kailangan si inverse operator.
Ay.
O yung tinatawag nating forward shift, hindi natin siya. Ang gusto lang natin is yung backshift lang.
I'm not sure if I followed po, sir. Ay, sorry po. Kaya parang mali yata yung pagkaintindi ko.
Yes, using only backshift. Ito kasing ginamit mo.
Ay, nag-base po kasi ako sa previous slides.
This is the forward shift. So, wag mong gamitin yan. Gamitin mo lang si B lang.
Si B lang?
Yes.
But okay. Saan ni sir? Ay, hindi po ako sure, sir. I don't think I can answer it correctly.
So, ito is wala lang siyang shift. YT lang siya.
YT lang.
Yes.
So, ganyan lang. YT lang, sir.
Yes.
Minus 1.
Ito, pwede mo siyang i-express. No. Walang minus 1. Ito ba? Ito lang. YT lang. Wala siyang backshift.
Okay. In that.
Kuha mo ba?
Hindi. I don't think nakuha ko, sir.
Sige. Start
Iba
over.
na lang po, sir.
Yeah, okay lang. Learning here naman. Sige, start over ka. So, ang goal natin, di ba, is i-represent natin siya using backshift. Tama? Okay man yung ginawa mo, kailan nagamit ka ng B inverse, which is not the which is actually the forward shift. So, ang gusto ko lang is gamitin mo ang backshift lang. So, B. So, how would you represent YT? Here. YT lang, di ba? Kasi wala ka namang isi-shift. Alright? Tama ba? Okay. Minus 2. So ito, i-express mo siya in terms of YT using backshift operator. So ano lalabas dyan?
YT?
Yes? Y sub T minus 1. Paano mo to i-represent as a na Y sub T pero may backshift operator? So, B YT, di ba, is equal to YT minus 1. Tama?
Opo.
So, yan
yes,
yung lalagay. O, yan yung lalagay mo. So, in terms of YT na lang sila lahat. Plus?
Okay. Akala ko kasi, sir, yung YT sa previous slide kay yung B, yung inverse of BY sub T minus 1. Oh.
Kasi di ba T naman ito. So gusto natin express lang siya in terms of T na lang lahat. Wala na yung mga minus-minus. Pero in terms of backshift operator. So next is?
Y.
Correct.
ganyan, sir?
Correct. Yes, very
Okay.
good.
So, na-confuse na ako dito na part. Pero ito po dito po ako pupunta.
Tama yan. Okay?
Okay. Thank you
So,
po,
can you
sir.
no, wala pa.
Ay, hindi
Simplify
pa.
it. Yes, akala mo tapos na. No.
Akala ko, sir. Ano pong sunod, sir?
Simplify yan. Simplify mo.
Ano, is ma-factor out po itong YT. Tama po ba?
Sige.
1 minus 2B plus B squared. Yan.
Pero ang pag-factor out mo, wag dito sa labas. Kasi kita mo siya, it operates on the left. Tama?
Opo.
So,
dapat
itong
nauna
YT
to.
mo. Yes, nauna yan siya. Dito yung YT mo.
Opo, ma'am. Ay, wait, ma'am. Nag-oral ako, ma'am. Nag-oral ka? Opo. Ay, akin na po. Why? Thank you po.
Strawberry na siya, ma'am. Opo, ma'am.
YT.
YT. Yan po.
Yes.
Yay!
So, sige pa. Kulang pa.
Na po, sir.
Yes.
Saan man yung scroll? Dala, di na ako scroll.
Gidako magudi mong sulat.
Ano po kasi ako, naka-mouse po kasi ako, sir. 1. Yan po. Tama po. Tama ba? B squared.
Tama ba yan?
B man. Mali. Wait. Asa ko na mali. May algebra. Tama. Tama, sir. Uy. Tama po. I think. B squared.
Well, tama siya, pero nabaliktad. Dapat
Dapat ito yung
1 minus
negative.
B.
Opo. Ito na po. Negative
Square.
B tapos plus 1.
Correct.
Yan.
So makita mo nang ngayon pala na pag second order differencing, you'll just have to 1 minus B squared. Tama? So ngayon, from that, can you compute y sub t pero third order? Following this, so it's just 1 minus b cubed yt. Right?
Oh.
So that's how easy, that's how easy the notation's more compact when you use the backshift operator. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Plaza.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's have another. Volunteer. So may nadiri si Edic. Carmela?
Sir?
Okay, Carmela.
Hello.
How would you represent can you represent this without backshift operator?
Wait lang, sir. Ay, marinig ako, sir.
Yes. Without the backshift operator lang in terms of the raw observations lang.
Kaman yun.
You can use algebraic lang dyan. Kasi itong backshift, it behaves like para lang siyang variable, di ba? Although operator siya, but it follows algebraic operations.
So, pwede na siya i-expand lang.
Sige, expand. Good. That's actually the idea. Expand mo lang siya.
Ako algebra po ani. Ay, hala. Wait lang.
Kaya ni mo na, uy. Bakit ba yung algebra? Pinay mo ang grade sa Math 17.
Ay, si Sir. 1 minus. Hala, di man magano. Di mo mag-expand masyado. Oops.
Sige lang sa internet siguro yun.
1 minus b. I-respond na ba? Hello?
Okay. Sige. No.
Ano, sir?
Sige. Wala yun. Wala. Sige.
Hala. Loading kay ko. Ito ba 1 minus b minus. Tama mo na ako pala.
Eh, padayan lang.
Uy. Plus 1. Ako na naman po uy.
Yeah. Very good. Sige. So, hawaan na ang mga backsheet.
Saan mo na pagkuha? Ay,
Pwede na rin mo na-distribute actually.
ano sir?
Pwede na rin mo i-distribute.
Ang YT?
Yes.
No. Okay. Tigit siya. Ang ano man yun? Minus B. Oh, okay. Pero na siya diretso on lang na.
Yes, mo na nakanindot sa backsheet operator. Operator.
Y T minus 1.
Backsheet operator. Yes.
Minus.
Hala, very good. How
Ano,
did
sir?
ni si Carmela ba?
T minus M.
Correct.
Ay. Plus, naman. M plus 1. YT minus M minus 1. Layap mo siya. Ano ba? Nana ba na siya, sir? Or
Yes, tama. Mauna na siya karon ay mohang represente using only the raw observations. Right? Pero kung imo jud ni siyang tan-awon, sa may naitabuan ni. No? So first, siyempre, applyan ni mo na, kini mo na. So ano ba ito? This is actually what we call the, so kung distribute manggod ni mo na siya. Maulog na siya. YT minus YT minus M. Right? So this is basically observation minus the T minus 1M. And this is the formula we use if we want to do seasonal differencing. So and M here represents the seasonality. Right? So for example, if we have 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 3. And M, our M is every three, ano siya, frequency niya is every 3 observations. So if we are going to have 3 here, for example, this is our T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our T is 6. So we have Y6 minus Y6 minus 3 or Y6 minus Y3. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 minus 4. So kung merong seasonality, di ba pag merong seasonality ang data, we expect that yung pattern niya mag-repeat siya, di ba? Regular ang pattern. So kung ano niya is, yung frequency niya is 3, every 3 values, every third values, yeah? Then this is the same as differencing it based on seasonality. Right? So this is now actually differencing based on seasonality. So to interpret this, it's basically just conducting differencing based on seasonality muna, and then conducting second order differencing. Okay? So we are able to express this to differencing, the differencing by seasonality, and then applying a first order difference. Correct. Yeah? So yan yung backshift operator. Very simple. Okay? Okay. Now, ang autoregressive naman, recall that the definition for ARP process is using P, past observations, to predict the present. And we have, of course, we need to add always an error term, which is W sub T. Now, if we use a backshift operator, you can just rewrite this as this into 1 minus B, 1 minus squared, dot, 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 BP, okay, times XT equals YT. And the autoregressive operator is defined as this. Yes, very simple. Okay? So, ito na siya. B is just equal to 1 minus summation P. So therefore, the autoregressive model P can be written as ito na. From this, using backshift operator, patay, wala na ko nadala di ako. Hala. Okay. So battery low na ko nadala ako ang charger. So siguro mag-stop na lang tayo kay matigmamatay. Wala tayo mag-discuss ato ang operation. Ato ang final course requirement. Okay? Mag-meet na lang po tayo this Thursday. Okay? Okay, so do you have any questions sa ating final course requirement?
Hello, sir. Sir, may
Yes.
tanong ako, sir, pero hindi siya sa final course requirement.
Okay. Ano ba?
Ano po, sir, sa Canvas po, nag-upload po si Sir Mengorio ng worksheets. I-pass pa po yun, sir?
Yes, i-pass niyo, pero hindi yan siya graded.
Okay po, sir.
So that we can give you feedback para ma-practice kayo ba. Hindi yan siya graded kasi our final would be just, yun lang, pili kayo ng data. No?
Thank you po, sir. Excuse me po, sir. Hello po. Wait, nawala si sir. No. Or nawala.
Guys, nawala daw si sir. Andy, you are the host. Stop ko na ni.
Wait, paano yan? Ang recording.
Ari, stop ko ang recording. Ampot ako daw. Stop ko na recording.
Stop
Stop.
ang recording.
Okay,
Napatayan na
bye-bye. Online siya sa
Masave
Discord,
mo?
guys.
Masave mo. Ang recording.
Stop ko siya. Hindi ko sure kung mo-save ko ba si madiritso kay sir. Wala, I don't
Okay.
know.
Ano si sir sa ano sa busy?
Sir, stop. I-chat ko na siya, sir. Stop mo.
Ito na.
Sir.
Magamit din nato na di kan time series decomposition to
Feel ko
Kaning
depende lang
isang-
sa ano.
depende lang sa problem.
Oo. Maghatag si Sir R. Oy, wait lang, naka-record. Dili, stop ko na. Stop ko lang ang recording.
Gon. Katong RB6 bro. RB6. Kato good.